Ready to dive deep today? We're tackling a legend, Warren Buffett.
Oh, a great one.
You've sent over a treasure trove, articles, notes, the
Yeah.
works,
Yeah.
and it seems like you're after the secret sauce, the stuff that makes the Oracle of Omaha tick
hmm
beyond the billions.
Absolutely. And you're right to look deeper, What's so fascinating about Buffett, it's not just about being good with numbers or financial wizardry, right?
Mhm.
It's this whole lifetime of learning and a surprisingly consistent set of
I'm
principles.
all ears, especially if it involves some unconventional wisdom.
Oh, there's plenty of that.
But I gotta ask, where do we even begin with a figure like Warren Buffett? It feels like he's been a titan of industry since forever.
It's true. His influence is massive, but it all starts in a surprisingly relatable way. Okay, picture this. 7-year-old Warren,
Okay.
not on Wall Street, but at the Omaha Public Library,
hmm
pulling a book called 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000 Off the Shelf.
Okay, that's kind of adorable. Little Warren already bitten by the business bug.
I know, right?
But it wasn't just a childhood phase, though, was it?
Not at all. That book, that sparked a fire. Think about it. While other kids were out playing games, young Buffett was out there hustling, selling chewing gum, Coca-Cola, even running a pinball empire out of barbershops.
A pinball empire.
Yeah.
That's next level entrepreneurship.
Makes you wonder what my childhood side hustle should have been. But seriously, those early experiences must have been so formative.
Oh, absolutely. And this wasn't just about making a quick buck, right? This was about understanding how business works from a ridiculously young age.
Mm.
The buying, the selling, recognizing value lessons that he internalized early on.
And speaking of value, that brings us to another pivotal figure in Buffett's story, his mentor, Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing.
Exactly.
Mm.
And talk about an eager student. So the story goes that a young Buffett was so determined to learn from the best
Mm-hmm.
that he just shows up at Geico's headquarters,
Well,
hoping to just pick Graham's brain about insurance. I mean,
Wow.
that's dedication. I love that story. It really shows how hungry he was to learn and learn directly from the masters.
Absolutely.
And Graham's influence on Buffett's investment philosophy is undeniable.
It really is. I mean, Graham's core principles, identifying undervalued companies, looking for that margin of safety,
Mm.
these became cornerstones of Buffett's approach, too.
Right.
Essentially, it's like, buying a dollar for 50 cents,
Mhm.
finding those hidden gems that the market has overlooked.
So you've got this young Buffett, shaped by entrepreneurial hustle, mentored by a Wall Street legend. It's like the perfect storm for creating an investing titan.
Yeah.
But how did those early influences translate into the Berkshire Hathaway that we know today?
Well, you've probably heard of Berkshire Hathaway,
Mhm.
but it wasn't always the giant that it is today.
Right.
It actually started as a struggling textile company.
Really? See, that's not the image that comes to mind
Right.
when you think Warren Buffett.
Yeah, I mean, even Buffett himself, he admitted that buying Berkshire Hathaway, one of his worst trades, and this is where it gets interesting,
Okay.
he took this fading textile business and transformed it into this powerhouse holding company we know today.
Okay, now that's the Buffett magic I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you even begin to turn around a struggling textile company? It seems like a million miles from, the world of high finance.
It was a process, for sure,
Right.
but one of the keys was Buffett's knack for spotting undervalued companies.
Mhm.
He wasn't afraid to make big bets, even on businesses that others had written off.
Right.
Take the Sanborn Map Company, for example.
I read about that. Wasn't that one of his first, forays into activist investing?
You got it.
Okay.
Back in the late 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
Buffett recognized that Sanborn's investment portfolio was actually worth more than the company's stock price itself.
Wow.
Talk about a hidden gem.
Right.
He saw an opportunity to kind of unlock that value and dove in head first.
Mm.
He eventually gained control of the company and pushed for changes that benefited all the shareholders.
And what were the results? Because this sounds like it could be a make or break moment.
Let's just say it was a brilliant move. 50% return on his investment
Wow.
in just 2 years.
That's incredible.
It's the kind of savvy decision-making that really laid the foundation for the Berkshire Hathaway empire.
Mhm.
Over the years, he continued to acquire this diverse range of companies, from giants like Geico Insurance to household names like Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm. It's that long-term perspective, the
Yes.
willingness to hold investments for the long haul.
Absolutely.
That seems to set him apart. It's almost like he's playing a different game than the rest of Wall Street.
You've hit on a crucial point.
Yeah.
Buffett is famous for weathering those economic storms. that would send other investors running for cover.
Right.
Think like the dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis. He's seen it all
Right.
and come out stronger.
So he's riding the waves,
Exactly.
not being swept away by them.
Yeah.
But here's something I find so intriguing. For someone who is so clearly brilliant at picking individual stocks, Buffett is also a huge advocate for index funds. Isn't that a bit of a contradiction? It does seem kind of counterintuitive, right? You would think the Oracle of Omaha would be all about picking the winning stocks, not recommending something.
Right.
As simple as index funds.
It's one of those fascinating paradoxes about Buffett. You know, he's this master stock picker, but he also recognizes that for your average investor, trying to beat the market consistently, it's a losing game.
Right.
He's all about simplicity, long-term thinking. Remember, so he's basically saying most people are better off going with the flow, riding the market wave, instead of trying to, like, time it perfectly.
Exactly. Less is more. Especially when you're dealing with something as volatile as the stock market.
Exactly.
But we know Buffett doesn't just stick to index funds himself.
Right. He certainly doesn't.
Right.
But even his stock picks, they often reflect this emphasis on simplicity, on long-term value.
Right.
I mean, take his famous aversion to tech stocks, for example.
Ah, yes. He stayed away from tech for years, then seemingly broke his own rules with that huge investment in IBM.
Right.
What was the story there?
Well,
I mean, it felt like a seismic shift for someone
it did.
so associated with, specific sectors.
It definitely raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
But remember, Buffett is all about adapting, evolving.
Right.
He recognized that IBM, despite being a tech company, had this long track record of generating consistent profits and returning value to shareholders. So it fit his criteria, just in a sector he'd previously avoided.
So he wasn't abandoning his principles.
Right.
Just applying them in a new context.
Exactly.
It really speaks to his flexibility, his ability to kind of see value where others might miss it. But let's shift gears for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked about the investor. But what about the man himself? The guy plays the ukulele.
I know, right?
Not your typical billionaire hobby.
Not exactly, no.
It's pretty cool, though.
It's very cool.
Buffett's love for the ukulele is almost as legendary
It really is.
as his investment acumen. He's been playing since he was a teenager, and even serenades shareholders
Oh, no, I love that detail.
at Berkshire Hathaway's annual meetings.
It's amazing.
Wait, seriously?
Oh, yeah.
These meetings are legendary in themselves, right? Like a Woodstock for capitalism,
They've become a phenomenon,
where
exactly.
thousands gather to hear him speak.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And we can't forget his incredible philanthropy.
Oh, absolutely.
His contributions to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are staggering.
Extraordinary.
That says a lot about his values,
It does.
beyond just accumulating wealth.
It really does.
So after diving deep into this treasure trove of information about Warren Buffett,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway? What can we learn from this financial legend, even if we're not all aspiring billionaires?
I think it's about more than just the investment strategies, right?
Right.
Buffett's story really highlights the importance of lifelong learning, staying curious, being adaptable, and crucially, using your success to make a positive impact on the world.
He's a fascinating mix of contradictions. A brilliant investor who champions simplicity.
Right.
A titan of industry with a common touch.
Absolutely.
Here's a thought for you to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
What lessons from Buffett's journey resonate most strongly with you? And how might you apply those principles, whether in your financial life, your career, or even your personal pursuits, to achieve your own version of success?